Okay, today's video is going to be about Patrick Bet-David, and he put on this big debate between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson, I think his name is, and I didn't know anything about it. I had no idea that this was happening, and had I known, I would have tuned in yesterday morning when it got played there on YouTube. I didn't know anything about it. But the guy that I work with, he pinged a clip of it to me on the way home from work last night. And I listened to some of it on the way home. And then I watched a little bit more before I wound up falling asleep. I got up this morning, finished watching it, and now I'd like to just give my overall opinion of that entire debate, okay? Now, as far as who killed Charlie, who killed Charlie Kirk, why was Charlie Kirk killed, all of those questions that all of us have had since he got shot, I'm still right here in the same lane that I have been ever since Charlie got killed. I have no idea whether this Robbins kid did or didn't do it. I got no idea. I've got no idea if he's the patsy that Candace claims he is. I've got no idea if he is indeed the guy that shot Charlie, which was Andrew Wilson's. After watching this debate, neither one of them convinced me of anything. Nothing. Zero. I can see where Andrew could be right, and I see where Candace could be right, even though I feel like both of these people are way out on the end of a branch on the same tree. They're way out on the ends, hanging and dangling, because out of this whole thing, I've never really heard anything that was clear and convincing about anything. It's like everything I'm hearing is, you could put it in the same tent of conspiracy, no matter what way you look at it. The only thing that I can say about Charlie Kirk's death is, and again, this is my opinion, how he died. We know he got shot in the neck, and who pulled the trigger, from what direction, whatever. You can argue about that all day long. I'm not going to. What I am going to say is, the one thing that I know about Charlie, that when I say this to people agree with it 100%. Donald J. Trump is in the White House because of Charlie Kirk. There is no question about it. There is absolutely no question. Because in Donald Trump's first run for president, he did win, but he didn't have a lot of the youth's vote, the young people, the college and early 20s. He didn't have a lot. He had some. Yes, he did. Yes, he most certainly did. But he didn't have a lot. But by the time he ran in 2023, 2024, Charlie Kirk was out there stumping for him. And Charlie Kirk was going all over this country. And I mean, if you're familiar with Charlie, if you ever watched any of his rallies and you listen to him talk, I mean, this guy was smart. I mean, there's no way you can deny it. He was extremely smart. And he would take on, in debate, all of these young college-aged students and young people, and they would come at him with their liberal point of view, and he would just, I wouldn't use the word eviscerate, but he would defend his position. And I think some of them, he may have even changed their opinion. I mean, he was that good. He was that good, that smart. And he had wicked influence on a lot of the young people, that when it became November, those young people heard what he said, and they voted for Donald Trump. And I think it was because of the youth vote that election was, just like Trump said, too big to rig. It was too big to rig because a ton of young people came out and voted for him, and it was because of Charlie Kirk. There's no question in my mind, and I think if you listen to what I'm saying, I bet you agree too. Now, the people that are in opposition of Donald Trump and the MAGA movement and all of that stuff, now I'm not saying that they themselves pulled the trigger, but I can guarantee you they had something to do with it. I don't know how, I don't know what, but they saw Charlie as an unstoppable force that, well, remember what they said. They said Charlie Kirk is going to be president someday. People on both sides of the aisle were saying Charlie Kirk is going to be president someday. And when you're carrying that kind of a persona, a reputation, you are a threat to people who don't like what Trump has done. You look at what Trump's done. He's changed the rules. He's turned everything upside down. And now to be a politician and to get down there and get in the White House, you're going to have to, the rules have all been changed. Everything has been changed. And the Democrats, the people on the left, know this. And their biggest threat is not Donald Trump. It was Charlie Kirk. Because Charlie Kirk, if he ran for president, he probably more than likely would win. And at the same time, if he decided not to run and he stumped for whoever he thought and supported in future elections, he could get them elected. And this is why he was a threat to the left. The left looked at this guy as like, whoa, we got to stop him. We have got to stop him. I'm not saying they killed him. I don't know who killed him. I got to be honest with you. I don't know. It doesn't look too good for this Robbins kid. I mean, there is some overwhelming evidence, I will admit. And if he did it, and justice should come down on him, I definitely want to see justice for Charlie's death. But I'm telling you, right now, speaking only from the political side of things, when we lost Charlie, boy, we lost a major component to the right-wing establishment. He was hands down. He was the future of the party. And I'm not sitting here saying that, oh, I think he's God and everything else. No. What I'm simply saying is his ideas aligned with Donald Trump's. And to me, I know this is kind of a crazy comparison, but think of Hank Williams in the 1940s. He comes out of nowhere. He's a nobody. Nobody's ever heard of him. And then all of a sudden you hear about Hank Williams. And you hear these good things and bad things and whatever, but you hear about him. And then all of a sudden he makes it to Nashville. And when he gets to Nashville, Nashville has this standard at the time. They had to be this. They couldn't be this over here. They couldn't be that. They had to be this. They had to be in this lane. But Hank Williams came in there, and he changed it all, totally and completely flipped it on its head. And ever since then, for 70 plus years, for 70, 80 years, however long it's been, everybody that comes to Nashville now has to do it the exact way that Hank Williams has to do it. You've got to be a good singer, you got to write your own music, and you've got to be able to make people cry. I got to take a break here for just a second. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. I just got here at the dump, had to get rid of my garbage. Now, back to the show. I was basically making the point that Donald Trump with Charlie Kirk's help, started this movement. Well, Charlie didn't start the MAGA movement. Donald Trump did. But Donald Trump's movement and his ideas and his way of thinking aligned with Charlie Kirk. And I'm sure that there's other people out there that were, and now definitely are. They have all combined their forces, and now you've got the MAGA party that I am curious what this party is going to do after Donald Trump is out of the picture. You know, I wonder if Donald Trump will continue just going doing rallies after he's done being president, just to keep the MAGA movement and the ideas and the policies that go with the MAGA movement. I don't know. Because, see, that's kind of what Charlie was doing. He was teaching young people to embrace the idea of the individual. And that was bringing us right back to the founding of this country and our founders and what their ideas were for this country and for you and for me. Even though it was 250 years ago, the idea works, and it's still working 250 years later. And I have got to admit, for it to last that long, and for someone like me, I've got a high school education, that's all I've got, and it's a GED too. It's not an actual, well, yes, it is a diploma, but I wound up quitting school. I hate admitting this, but it's the truth. I wound up quitting school because at the ripe old age of 17, I thought I knew it all and had the answers, and I wound up quitting, but I did go back and I got my diploma. But I don't consider myself the smartest person in the world. I'm not. I don't even profess to be. But I feel like I've learned an awful lot in my lifetime when it comes to stuff like this, and especially the history of this country, the ideas that our founders had when they made this country what it is. And it's the greatest country on the planet, the greatest country that has ever been since this world came into existence, as far as I'm concerned. And Charlie and Donald Trump has made a lot of people realize that, and realize that all of us have got to get back to those founding ideas, that everything is about the individual. We govern ourselves, and now we have got to start picking the right people and putting them in the seats of power. If you give those seats of power to the wrong people, you're going to destroy what has been built for 250 years. And that core idea is what has kept it from being completely destroyed, because dumb people like me finally realize it halfway through their life, that that's what they need to fight for and defend, especially when it comes to voting and voting for the right people. And this is what Charlie taught. And like I said, that right there is why when we lost Charlie, we lost a lot. And when Donald Trump gets done being president, we're going to lose a lot then. I got to run in and check my mail. I'll be right back. No mail. No news is good news. So, anyways, I kind of strayed off from the original point of the video. I watched that debate between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson, and my overall, like I said, is still the same. I got no idea who, what, why, where it comes to Charlie's death. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. The official record right now is that this Robinson kid did kill him, and he's probably going to get convicted of it and sent to prison. And if that's what it is, then that's what it is. I don't know. I do have questions myself, but that's all there is, questions, and I think it's answers that we're never going to get, because no one can tell the truth. in the media. So anything that you're hearing, you don't know if you're hearing truth or you're hearing fact. And your guess is as good as mine. Now, this overall debate, like I said, this Andrew guy, he was an extreme disappointment. An extreme disappointment. I had been watching Candace up until a few months ago because I kind of got sucked into her suspicions and her conspiracy theories and everything. I was getting entertainment from it. But then after a while, I felt like she was just getting way too far out there, and I was like, I just can't listen to it anymore. I stopped listening to her. And that's when I made up my mind. You can sit there and you can listen to people, and if you let it influence you, you can get all wrapped up in it. And I didn't want to do that. And I was like, I think this whole thing is just going to have to play itself out, and hopefully somewhere along the line, the truth will show itself. If you give it enough time, it should show itself somewhere, somehow, some way. And so far it hasn't, in my opinion. But when these two sat down, the first thing I thought was, well, I know Candace can be a very good debater. She's been doing it a long time. She's debated a lot of people, and I know that she's good at holding her ground, standing her ground. But this Andrew Wilson, I've seen him in debates. And when I first understood that these two were going to go head to head, my first thought was, Candace is good. But this Andrew guy is better because I've seen them both in different debates. And usually this Andrew, through logic, when he gets into debate with someone, what I've noticed he'll do is he will just use bottom line logic. And the person that he's debating with usually, gets cut right off at the knees. Very rarely did I ever see him, take a battleship hit and his ship sink. He always would I'll use the word, he would eviscerate his opponent. Well, when I watched this one with Candace, now I'm not sticking up for Candace's points of view and everything. It's how she defended her points of view. In my opinion, she absolutely kicked Andrew's nuts up his ass, out of sight. I had never been so disappointed because I was fully expecting total, complete logic to come from him and make her kind of get her knocked back on her heels. That's what I thought was going to happen, and it didn't happen at all. If anything, that was completely reversed. She didn't knock him back on his heels, she knocked him right back on his ass. I was disappointed. I was, because I wanted that Andrew Wilson logic to cut through all of her rhetoric and at least make her stop and think, or stop and admit here and then, which she did. There was a couple of spots where he did make a couple of logical points and she had to concede to him. She did, and he did too, off and on. But overall, in my opinion, Candace Owens came out the absolute winner of that. Not of proving anything up or down to me about Charlie's death. No. What she proved was she stood her ground, and he didn't punch any holes in her theories, as far as I'm concerned. And his attempt to was so piss poor and disappointing. I still like the guy. I'm not saying I hate him or anything, but just I think he got himself into a debate that he shouldn't have. He just shouldn't have. And to Candace's side, I will say when she said that that guy there from TPUSA, he should have been sitting there and not this Andrew Wilson guy. It should have been the guy from TPUSA. I agree with her on that too, because that's who she's had her beef with, the top people at TPUSA. So, okay, I'm at the end of this video. I've gone on long enough, 20 minutes, yeah, it's been long enough. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you stayed this long, I'm glad. Do not forget, like, share, and subscribe. If you've got a comment, definitely put it down there. Definitely on this, I want to hear exactly what you have to say about this. If you watched it, do you agree with me that Candace kicked ass? Even though we don't necessarily agree with her point of view, she may have done a really good job at defending her positions. So, all right, I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good weekend. It's August 15th, Saturday, 2026. It's going to be a beautiful day. Now I got to go home, mow my lawn. I put it off for a couple of weeks, and now this weekend can't put it off anymore. Okay, we'll catch you in the next video. Have a good Saturday. We be gone.